All right, welcome back to part two. Here we go. Um, okay, so how about another Easter egg as I'm trying to get this thing up? When we were setting up the house system, we actually considered having a house named after Jan Hus. But some people, I have no idea why, thought it would sound silly to have something called the Hus house. I personally thought it would be kind of funny, maybe even hilarious. Didn't happen though. We also debated having a Chrysostom house, but nobody knew how to pronounce Chrysostom, which I also thought was half the fun. Anyways, there you go, behind the scenes. All right, let's keep going here. So we're gonna jump into logistics. Here are our enrollment costs for next year. These are simplified costs. We used to have different costs based on what grades you were enrolling in. We're already charging different for tuition, so I just want to simplify costs. Okay, so you're encouraged to enroll early, and there's a financial incentive, right, for the first week or so. Oh, shoot. For the first week or so of re-enrollment, the cost is $100 cheaper per child. So, um, yeah, you're encouraged to do so early, and then it costs more the longer you wait. Try definitely not to wait till after May 1st. Wow. Okay. If you have a new kindergarten student, let me know so that I can add them into ClassReach so you can have them enroll. Some of you already done this. If you've already talked to me, their name should already be in there. If you're not sure if you're returning or not, just send me a note. Or if you are sure you're not returning, just send me a note. Otherwise, I'll reach out after a few days just to see where people are at. If you can believe it or not, sometimes people intend to re-enroll and they forget to. And so I just reach out to them. So if I don't hear from you, I'll reach out to you. Okay, tuition rates. There you have it. We're committed to continuing to provide an excellent education for you all. This actually requires us to pay our teachers in order to give them pay increases commensurate with inflation. We've had to increase our tuition rates by 4.75% this year. These numbers are also on our website. If you would like to apply for financial aid, please do so ASAP. All right, student formation, right? By the way, if you don't recognize this, it's from Rocky IV. Great classical movie. Okay, now I've talked about student formation approximately 1,800 times before. I'm only going to talk briefly here. But in short, I think one of the best things that our school has to offer is time and space for other formational activities, right? We are not an all-encompassing, full-on boarding school, whatever, everything, right? We are a place that is coming alongside and partnering with you and churches in the formation of your children. And so as your children get older, I would encourage them to take advantage to some opportunities we have, like our intern partnerships. If they are getting close to graduating and they're not sure what they want to do, encourage them to intern or serve somewhere, right? I've seen this work well. At Karis, we have had 3 former graduates work with us. 2 are now attending the University of Wisconsin here in Madison. And my understanding is that they are looking into pursuing careers in education, right? They saw what it looks like to teach. They liked it. And they're like, hey, now I have a finish line to shoot towards. One has decided teaching's not for her. She has a different type of job. She's going off in a different direction. All 3 experiences were valuable, right? They took a year not to avoid adulthood and responsibility, but to better prepare for it. We've also had a non-Karis UW student intern with us, right? And he's been doing other things as well, right? He went to India last summer, did missions work. He's studying something like biological engineering or whatever, something I don't understand. But he worked in a grammar and writing classroom. And now he's starting to think like, well, maybe there's something in my future in Christian education, or maybe I'm being called into ministry, right? He's trying different things, trying to get a feel for what he's called to, what he's good at, what he's interested in, and so on, right? Most of us have not had a straight path between our current job and high school, right? Many of us probably didn't even know that our job existed when we were 18, right? When I was 18, I hadn't read Harry Potter, so I'd never even heard of a headmaster. It is good for our children to try different things to get an idea of what is out there and what they are interested in. Okay, academic changes. Well, right, no, or I should say updates, right? Because we don't really have any major changes. Last year we launched our Friday afternoon enrichment courses. I'd say they've been a success. You can see right here what we've offered, right? Um, we want to continue to grow here. I want there to be more space for our students to study things that they're interested in. So for example, I just taught introductory logic to our 8th graders, right, this past year and then this current year. Multiple students have asked for a more advanced logic class. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. That's great, right? I love hearing what our students are interested. I want to be able to offer more and more opportunities for them to be able to study things they're interested in. I guess the one change we do have this year is a staffing change. Mr. Tucker is moving at the end of the this month. He has done a most triumphant job. We are going to miss him, but it's going to be difficult for him to teach at Karis from Kansas City, where he's moving towards. And so Mr. Peets, right, Professor Peets, as the students affectionately call him, who subbed for Mrs. Luckton during her maternity leave, will be taking over Mr. Tucker's classes. Now, it's important to note, like a guy like Mr. Peets is a professional writer, right? He's an editor, and he's coming in to teach our students grammar and writing. Our teachers that work other jobs, every hour they are working at Karis, they are losing money, right? I had to have a number of conversations with Mr. Peets where he did a ton of calculated, calculations or complicated calculations to figure out how much money he could afford to lose, right, to work for us, right, and taking hours away from his other job, right? Mr. Decker, every hour he's at Karis, he's making between a quarter and a third what he could be making at his other job, or what he does make at his other job, right? So I know you all sacrifice to be a part of this school. I think it is good to remember that all of our teachers are sacrificing as well. Building updates. Okay, so our move on date is on track for mid-February, right? We have our final inspection February 3rd. You can be praying that that goes well, right? There's still a lot of work to be done, but everything is coming along well. You'll notice we don't have an exact date. Like we are moving February, whatever, 8th at 3:30 p.m. We're going to obviously have that soon, but we want to make sure everything's wrapped up and we don't have to change a set date once we set it. We are very close to coming to a rental agreement with Living Springs International Church. We have always rented from churches, and when we had our own space, we knew we wanted to rent to churches as well. We don't use space the same time as churches. We think this is a great way to advance the Lord's kingdom and also set up a system that is beneficial to Karis and beneficial to whoever we rent to. The folks at Living Springs International Church are just awesome, right? I've got to meet their leadership team. I've spent a lot of time the past few months with their lead pastor. They are a predominantly African immigrant church. They have folks coming from 17 different countries in Africa. They are fantastic. I could go on and on, but I can't tell you how excited I am for this opportunity for us to be able to work with them. Right. Right. A lot of people have questions about safety. Right. What is safety going to look like in our new building? And the short is, right, we're going to talk to the experts. Right. We're going to be meeting with the Madison Police Department once our construction is done and we're set up. We're going to get that guidance on what we should be doing in terms of security. There have been a number of things in the past we've wanted to do security-wise we haven't been able to do because we didn't own the building. We'll be able to, as long as finances, right, allow, institute some of those measures, right? In short, our goal is to be both safe, but also, right, not turn this into, Fortress Karis, right? It is a school, and we don't want to create systems and institutions or practices that exacerbate anxiety and just aren't good for the mental health of our kids. That's a huge problem too. So we'll get that figured out perfectly. All right, a few thoughts on classroom snacks. So I asked for feedback on classroom snacks from our teachers, and I got more feedback on this topic than on any question I have ever asked my staff in the 9 years I have served as a school administrator. People have a lot of strong opinions, so I'm going to tread lightly. First off, I want to be clear. As I speak, I'm not judging anyone. To drive this point home, let me give you plenty of material with which you may judge me. So, my last name, Knetter, comes from the German word for baker. In my house, we always have fresh baked goods. We have dessert like every day. When I moved out and I was living on my own, right, not with my parents, and before I was married, right, I used to keep candy on my nightstand and eat a piece of candy in the morning before I even got out of bed. Until my 30s and into my 30s, I used to have a bowl of ice cream with my breakfast. Now for breakfast, I generally have a hot, tall mug of whole milk hot chocolate, but I like to add cream to it because it tastes better, right? Okay, hopefully that's enough. I could go on. I don't want to embarrass myself anymore. The point is, I'm not coming at this from like a pristine like ivory tower. But here's the issue as I see it. Think about screens. Most of us limit our children's screen time. But if school is full of screens, then it's difficult to limit screen time, right? In the same way, most of us limit sugar or processed foods in our homes. If these things are common at school, it's hard to limit them, and it can make it hard for us to form our children in the habits we want to form them in. Now, in general, I think most of us want school to be a place that encourages healthy habits in all areas of life, including in the things we eat. Here's the challenge. We all see healthy differently, right? What is unhealthy? Right? Is it saturated fat? Is it carbs? Is it meat? Is it sugar? Is it gluten? Right? We are looking at these things differently, and it is most certainly not my place to determine what is healthy and unhealthy. That's challenge one. Challenge two, food should be enjoyable. There's a time for feasting. It would be socially and developmentally unhealthy for our children to ban food that they enjoy. So here's what I'll say. When we have class projects or treats, I would encourage you all to consider having less sugary and more natural foods. This is not an edict. This is not, right, Pharaoh instituting a degree or whatever, right? Rather, it's a direction that I think a lot of us would appreciate. Our kids would be better off with carrots and hummus than chips. They'd be better off even with homemade chocolate chip cookies than with Skittles. But I don't want there to be any guilt or stigma when we do otherwise. Sometimes we just don't have time to prep vegetables or bake. This is all, wait for it, food for thought, right? Consider it, then decide what you think is best. I am not planning on creating any new rule. Okay. On a related note, as many of you probably recognize, I'm a man of the people, right? And as such, I avoid instituting top-down pronouncements as much as I can. So, in a couple minutes, I'm going to be talking about building procedures. But before I do that, I want to talk about one general thing and then one specific comment. Okay, first, be patient as we move. There are going to be bumps in this transition, but they are good bumps, right? This is like a problem when it's like, man, all my t-shirts keep ripping because I've been lifting weights so much that every time I flex, they tear, right? That's a good problem to have. I've never had that problem, right? But we're gonna have difficulties, but they're good difficulties to have. And if things aren't working, we're going to adjust quickly and wisely. Second, specifically, we have more cars that are going to need to pick up children than we have room in our parking lot for. This is going to create some congestion. This is going to create lines. One option would be to give you all different pickup windows. Some schools do this. They say, look, if you're in these 15 families, you pick up 315 to 320. These 15 families, you pick up 320 to 325. These 15 families, 325 to 340. I have rejected that approach. Instead, I'd like us to try a market approach, right? Essentially, if you arrive early for pickup, you will probably have to wait in line. If this bugs you, come a few minutes later, the line should be shorter. You're all rational actors, and I think after a few times, people are naturally going to adjust so that lines and wait times will level off. If this doesn't work, if it's a complete disaster, then we'll deal with it at that point. But I'd really like to give, have an open approach before creating a complicated structure. Okay, so now from here on out, this is where this talk's going to get really exciting because all the material I've gone for before is mine. Now I'm going to be talking about what other people are talking about on Friday night and going through their slides for them. Right, and by the way, this is Thursday, the 16th. So I've not even heard this, so I'm just based on their notes. So there you go. upcoming dates, right? This next weekend, Mythical Myths. This is going to be a most excellent evening. Come Friday night, Saturday afternoon. Bring your kids. It's going to be a fun play. It's going to be quick, right? It should be a lot of fun. We'll have more information about these things coming up. There's my mouse. Senior theses are coming up in February. Winter Fun Day. There will be no satellite day that work. No satellite work day that day. Hopefully we'll do some skiing, snowboarding, skating. Maybe there'll be a sledding option, and so on. Okay. Procedures for the new building, right? Drop off time for all grades. Wait, what? Yes, all grades, same time. You don't have to drop off at two different times anymore. Yay, right? 8:25 to 8:40. Please, if you need special accommodations before 8:25, please let us know. Otherwise, please don't leave your kids by themselves, especially when it's cold. Our teachers come in, they need a few minutes to get things set up. And it's really tough to like just supervise kids for like 30 minutes before class starts. Okay. Anyways, classes begin promptly at 8:45. Pick up 3:15 to 3:35. Same times for kindergarten through fourth on Fridays. Visitors check in with the office. This is part of our security. This isn't actually a big departure from what we've been doing. Kids, if they need to leave during school hours, sign in and out. Again, this isn't a big departure. This is something we're already doing, mainly for older kids. No more morning assembly, with the exception of koinonia, right? 5th to 12th grade going directly to first period. We're going to shift how we're doing our lunches on Fridays to accommodate house meetings and activities. We're right across the street from a fantastic park, so maybe we'll be able to do some house games. That would be fun, right? Sky's the limits. Lots of look. I mean, we've been a split campus for 5 years now, right? The last time we met together was February 2020. So it's 5 years, right? There's a lot of things we've been wanting to do, and we're going to be able to do them. This is going to be fun, exciting. Okay, drop off, pick up, right? You come, right? What is it? Rosas is over here. You come, take a left or right onto South Hill, come in, follow the arrows, drop off. Drop off is probably going to be pretty straightforward, right? Please use a big area for drop off, right? Not like everybody trying to get right here. And then pick up, I'm going to try to call from way back so that we can haul kids out pretty quickly. 8-10 cars at a time would be great. That's what I used to do at Door Creek and Monona Oaks, right? I like to keep things moving. There you go. Student ambassadors, right? If you were here in the 2019-2020 year or earlier, like all 8 of you, you remember we used to have student ambassadors that would come and walk younger kids into their classes. It's a cool way for younger and older kids to connect. Guess what? It's back. If your kids would like to be a part of this, you have to get there a little bit earlier. No, I guess we're having them walk in the afternoon too. Well, there we go. Okay, we didn't do this before. That's going to be new. The afternoon duty is going to be new. They won't be the same every week. They'll have a rotating weekly schedule. It's a fun thing to do. There you go. Okay. Financial report, right? As you know, we bought a building, right? We have 2 loans now, totaling $1.65 million. If any of you ever want to write a check for that amount to pay it off, that would be fantastic. I'd appreciate it. Our renovation costs, are right around $800,000, right? So total costs were about 3. It's a lot of money, right? Investment for the future, though. Okay. We were able to roll over some money from last year. We had a little bit of an overage. That helped. We're on track for our operational expenses. Right. If you can imagine, it's actually hard for us to predict what new costs are going to be in the new building. We have really good guesses, but our budget is a little bit, right? I don't know. When I'm working on the budget, it's like I put like green if I'm sure of a number, red if I have no idea, and yellow if I'm guessing, right? Well, there's a lot of yellow. So there we go. We are close to finalizing a rental contract with Living Springs International Church. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, that's been signed, right? Frankly, this is big. Okay. Right. So right now our renovations are taking $51,000 more than we have, which is non-ideal. However, right, there's been a lawsuit over an estate gift that was left to us multiple years ago. I've received drafts of the agreement, right? Everything looks like it's in place. I'm ready to sign at any point in time, in which we are expecting at least $200,000 from that estate. We are planning for the future, right? Our HVAC is going to need improvements of around $100,000. We're planning for that. And we've also received some extra rebates back from 2021 COVID stuff that I don't understand. We're expecting to receive, 6 figures more of that, right? So by the time all this comes through, we're expecting to come out positive. Okay. Right. We should be self-sustaining in the new building. That's assuming, right, that our enrollment numbers stay even or increase. Slightly. Like we're not like, hey, like right now we're at 192 students. It's not like, well, we need to get to 210 for this to work. Like, no, right? We have 192 next year. This works. 210, fantastic. But we haven't set ourselves up that we need to grow by like 10% to like make this work. Yeah, right. There's this federal loan that we are looking into, that our bank is going to allow us to do, called WIFA, that will allow us to have a lower interest rate, which is going to help out. Our bank is just asking us to finish renovations first, but we're expecting to do that this spring. There we go. Okay. All right. So this next section, so that previous section, Dave Genrich would have done, our treasurer. Now this is Todd, right, our development gentleman, saying like, look, let's remember everything that's happened, right? We have been fundraising for over a year now for this building, right? We met our goal last December, two Decembers ago, right? 2023, right? Then we hit our goal of, right, $250,000 to close. Then we fundraised again to reach our renovation number. Boom, made it. Look at this. There's even I don't know who's that handsome young man. He has a pretty weak beard though. Right. Looks so young. Right. Even he threw out a message here. Okay. All glory to God, most triumphant, 180 supporters, Karis's new home. Sweet. Right. And then we're gonna sing the doxology Friday night. If you want, you can sing this on your own. I'm not going to sing it to you. Okay. So we need to keep building for the future. If you would like to avoid taxes on capital gains while deducting the fair market value of gifted stock that's been held for more than 1 year, you can do that. You can amplify your generosity with pre-tax gifts, right? You can give stocks. There you go. Talk to Todd, right? Todd Hendrickson. He knows a lot more about this than I do. Right? Monthly support is fantastic because we can plan on it. We have a number of monthly supporters. Think about it. There you go. Okay. All right. That's it. Okay. That's the end. Thank you all. Right. We'll also have a time where we'll thank Todd, right, for his leadership in development, Kim for her leadership in taking care of renovations, and then all the various people that have come in and done tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of work. Thank you all. God bless you. Have a good night. You have any questions? Follow up with me. Bye.